What's going on, fellow humans and resellers? This is I, James, and Courtney. RedemptionAgency.com, 22 years selling full-time on eBay. And we are back from vacation. Yay! Whew, feeling eager, feeling ready to go, feeling good. Yeah. And I didn't shoot many videos on vacation. I was just wanting to I just got into this like mental break thing. Mental vegetation is what I called it. Where I was just taking in what was around me, trying to, enjoy the moment. Not really trying to think, if you will. I didn't want to think about, I've got to make a video, or I should make a video, or I just kind of took that week for my time off mentally. So I think I did a pretty good job. Did a couple of videos. The one where me and Jan talked, which done really well. So thank you guys for watching that. And just some videos I posted on Facebook of the area of the drive from the cabin down to the road, because it was like a 6-minute drive down, probably like a 10-minute drive up. So just little things like that. I think that video's still on my phone. I'll probably put that up on this channel, set it up for like the weekend or something. Since I know anything I put up on the weekend's pretty much going to bomb when it comes to view wise. And to keep the whole schedule going of the videos I do at certain times. So I'll put that up on the weekend. So what happened while I was gone? Do tell and do tell. What did I do? I tried not to think about too much, as I said. And then that Thursday, I ended up switching things up. Now, if you watch that video where I've done the $9.95 thing, that is, as of now, where I'm sitting with my lowest actual priced items. So I still got a good amount that's under that I'll eventually get to as I'm doing my organizing project when I come across it. Did a bunch again yesterday, bumped them up to $9.95. And then, so what I was doing, why I decided to do that, if you didn't watch the video, it was because from like the 1st through the 8th of the month, it was either 8th or the 7th. I think it was the 8th. First week of the month, things just bottomed out. Even my low dollar items. And then also I read a couple people said that the CEO said something about getting away from lower dollar items and whatever. Still haven't watched it updated, but you know what? It's probably something I need to do anyway, right? Especially getting older, and if I want to start changing into what I want the business to be, as I get old, as the years go on, because Adrian will be moving on, so it'll be just me doing all the work. So just to basically, if I sell less items and make good money, then that's the goal. So that's what I'm kind of shifting to. But that don't mean I'm not putting up low dollar items. I'm still putting them up. I'm just pricing them at $9.95, because the first week of the month, I've only sold 3 of the $4.20 items a day, which is lower than normal. So it kind of just felt like, that. And then I was, the whole thing of what hurts your account. Is it the low dollar of the account, or is it a sell-through rate thing? I've never was sold on the sell-through rate thing. So let's go with the low dollar theory, right? So bumped them all up to $9.95. And the first 3 days, I matched my $4.20. All the items I bumped up to $9.95, I sold 3 a day. So Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Sunday, I want to say 1. I know 1 for sure. Let me see if I can find out, give you some definite numbers here. See other items. Sold. So we got 1, 2, but I did take an offer on that one, so I won't count that one. But it did, at least somebody sent an offer, so 2. This is, do you call this one? If you do, it's 3. But all my hat pins, as I was Saturday working, I had hat pins from like $5 to $13. I just made them all $9.95. So I don't know if that was a 13 one I had up for 13 or had one up for lower, so won't really count that. So at least 2 then for yesterday. So that means more profit too. So I made would double my profit on 2 as opposed to selling 3 prior. So 3 prior would have been like $6. Selling 2 at the higher price is like $12. So you're going to hear a lot of weird but for some reason, which I'm kind of glad. Like, I've always had all this sinus pressure in my head. The last 3 days, it's been, I guess, draining at a rapid rate, which is kind of making me happy, but it's making me cough. And this stuff's going down my throat, it feels like. Thankfully, I can't taste anything, but because it's like just draining. So I'm kind of glad it's draining out of my head. So I guess maybe the change in the weather or the climate from here to Smoky Mountains did something. I'm not sure, but maybe a week in the Smoky Mountains actually changed things up. And if that's the case, that kind of means something here is causing this, which maybe dog hair, could be something that blooms here. I don't know. So I'm not sure which it is. So I got a feeling it's going to start clogging back up eventually. But so I do apologize if I have to cough. So what happened this weekend? So what's happened since I've changed? Well, so Thursday and Friday was kind of the way I stated. Saturday, I decided to do something a little different. And a lot of you may not like this, what I did. Is that going to be my thumbnail? A lot of resellers will not like this. Maybe I need to write that down so I can use it. That might be a good tagline. A lot of resellers may not like this. If I don't write it down now, I will forget. Like I said, after I read a comment, whether it's good or bad, I usually forget it in 5 minutes. So that's what happens with ideas also, unfortunately. But fortunately, because I get to clear my head every 5 minutes, so that's a good thing. So let me give you some context before I tell you what you don't want to hear. I could go here. All right. So I made that change early Thursday morning. Prior to that, I was hitting 465, 386, 620, 513, 563, 418, 483. So my numbers were bottoming out. And you know me, always trying different things and stuff. So when I made that change Thursday, I ended up doing 519 that day, which is nothing spectacular. Then the next day I only hit 307. So ended up with my second worst day in the last 30 days. So I'm like, ugh. You know, we were driving home that day, so I didn't pay too much attention to the phone, so I didn't have to worry about it. It was pretty much a drive day and stopping at a flea market here and there, stores or whatever. So when I got home Saturday, I started thinking. I'm asking myself how much, kind of talked about this before. What is the cost of your item? The cost of your item is what you bought it, paid for it, the fees involved, and the time it took to list it / ship it. That's the cost of your item. So a cost for something that would slip into a mailer is going to be cheaper than something you have to build a box for because of time. Also depends on how much you paid for it. So I started thinking Saturday, I'm like, okay, if you go out and buy an item, you spend $2 on it, you sell it for $20. That's 10% right there. So you're already 10% behind the 8 ball just for the cost of your item. And I'm like, well, that puts me 10% ahead of everybody else because the stuff not counting the stuff I don't buy, since I've got 5 storage areas that are basically free merchandise now, that kind of puts me 10% ahead of everybody else. Okay, if somebody paid $4 for that item and sold it for $20, well, they're already 20% behind somebody else. I am 20% ahead of somebody else. Now, you may think paying $4 for something and selling for $20, awesome. That's good. Normally, yes. And it is yes. Let's just say that. I would pay $4 for something to sell it for $20, especially if it was quick flip. No shame in any of that. My point is, if it's items I've already got that's paid for, that puts me 20% ahead of the game. Well, 20% is a lot of money when it comes to the fees and the way the eBay game is played these days. 20% is huge. Either way you look at it, whether you put that in your pocket or you use it to your advantage. So, if you look at eBay and just kind of say, okay, Poshmark's 20% plus they're starting promoted. So you're going to be paying more than 20% for Poshmark here eventually. So if you look at eBay in that same kind of light, all right, you're kind of round everything off. 10% right out of the gate for eBay fees, not counting promoted. Okay, well, if I'm 10% or 20% ahead of other people, why not use that to my advantage? So instead of promoting it 12% where I was set Saturday when I came up with this, why don't I jump it up to 21 and see what happens? Now, prior in the past, I said it never seemed like there was a difference between 12 and 21. And why I said that is at the time, and I'm guessing there's been changes since, because at the time I was getting 1.8 to 2 million impressions, whether I did 12% or did 20%. And then I guess back maybe in April or so, whenever that last big change was, with 12 to 15%, I stayed within that range, and I was only getting 800,000 to about 1 million impressions, no matter what I played with between 12 and 15. So Saturday I'm like, well, let's use the fact that most of my stuff has no cost. And if I'm 10 to 20% ahead of the people who have to, who are still paying on their merchandise that they're selling, let's use that to my advantage. I'm in a spot where I can do that. So I bumped my percentage up to 21%. I promote. That's why I said a lot of you are not going to like this, because so many people are against the whole pay-to-play thing, which I get it. But the thing you need to learn about the pay to play is personal emotion, business. Do not let your personal emotion squash your business if that's your goal to grow the business. You cannot get emotions mixed in with the business. It just doesn't work out good for you. Split it down the middle. Separate it. No matter how much you hate it. Trust me, the last thing I want to do is give up extra money when I'm trying to, especially get Jan to slow down. So my goal is to make more money. But you have to push that aside. And for so long, I just got in that headspace too. Like, I'm not going over 15. I'm just not doing it. After a week of just clearing my head, not thinking about everything, I pretty much let everything go. I mean, it feels like it anyway. I'm like, all right, let's tackle this. Saturday, I kicked it all up to 21%. I'm going to use it to my advantage. Business is a cutthroat thing. Now, I'm not a cutthroat type person. I kind of just draw the line there. But I kind of got back into the reality of pulling the emotions out of it when it comes to letting the emotions control it. How about that? I mean, emotions are always going to be in it. Do not let your emotions control the business. That might be a better way of doing it, because I'm always going to be happy when something good sells, and I'm always going to be like, man, that kind of sucks when it doesn't. So separating the emotions so it doesn't control the business. So I clicked it up to 21%. But as I said, doing that, I bumped all my low dollar stuff up to $9.95. So that when my low dollar does sell, it's going to sell at a higher rate. And this month thus far, it has done so. I even remember having one comment in the comments saying that they did that also and already had one item sell. They bumped their low dollar stuff up to $9.95 and one item sell. So that could be, and then my thought behind it too was, okay, if eBay is so gung-ho on the promotion, my $9.95 item may get precedence over these $4 free shipping items that I'm competing with. Because, and somebody made the comment, and it had passed through my head before reading the comment while going through this, that maybe when I did that video showing the suppression of some things underneath the line, if you will, those were all low dollar free shipping items. That could be what's pushing that big declutter out of business. They went from 550 down to 150. I haven't checked it recently in the past week to see if they've gone even lower. But if their stuff is being suppressed, and they're promoting too, so at that price, they're not promoting very high. And if they are, I mean, because they were already losing money, I feel, overall. Okay, maybe not if they've got, I did read you could get, for Media Mail, you can get an adjustment if you're selling, I think is over it was either 200 or 2,000 items a day. And that company was clearly doing that. So they probably had a break on the shipping also. But still, it'd be very hard, but you've got more overhead, more employees when you're that big of a corporation business, that they still probably are not making money on those items. And if they're sponsoring, they're definitely probably not. So I'm like, okay, how do I not become declutter? And that was with the whole $9.95. And being that they're higher now, well, guess what? I can bump them up to 21% increase. I just bumped the price up over 50%. So to give eBay an extra 9, 7, 8%, 5, 6 to 9%. I just bumped it up over 50%. So if it sells, eBay's making more money, I'm making more money, and that is the name of the game. Will that balance out for me? If I am making, say, $6 now on something I made $2 for, that's $4 extra per item, 3 a day, 4, so that would $6, $12, $18 extra a day. So if I'm paying, say, let's just round it at It's 6 to 9%. So that's not going to make math easy. So let's just say 5%, and then, or let's just say 10%, worst case scenario. And so if a $30 item sells, an extra 10% is $3. Well, if I sold 3 of my higher or lower dollar items that I bumped up, I'm already $18 up. No, it would be 246, so it'd be $12 up for the day. So then if I sell a $30 item at $12, yeah. That's 12. No, that's 12. That's the $3. So then that, I've got $12 worth of buffer, if you will. Plus, if you sell a higher dollar item, because you're promoting it more, you might have more of those. And it might start stacking up over time. And you come out, eBay's going to come out ahead. Yeah. But you know what? I may come out ahead. If eBay's going to come out ahead, I'm going to come out ahead also. So that's the way I kind of viewed it. So Saturday I made that change. So that change was into play Sunday, and from here on out as of right now. So let's see what happened. So after the $307 Friday, Saturday I made it to $632, which is the biggest since October 29th. So in about 15 days, I had my highest day Saturday. Sunday, $708. So I made it back over 700, which I only had one day, October 29th, over $700 in the past 30 days. 700 has been very difficult to get back to. So there we are. And the strange thing is I'm still having that middle of the night shutdown. By 8 to 10 in the morning, no, let's see, 8 to 9 in the morning, 8 o'clock to 9 a.m., I'm only pushing like 15 to, like, right now we're at $42 at 8 o'clock. So I've been hitting right into $0 to $50. And then it seems like at 10 o'clock, things start rolling again for me. And then it's a faster growth, or at least a higher growth for the last 2 days. Using 21%, I guess, has been the changer. Last 31 days, I am now up 2.4%. Where if you remember, I kept riding 0 to 15 down. So 2.4 up. That being said, obviously I'm paying a little more in fees on the higher dollar items, but I'm gaining more money on the lower dollar items that I'm bumping up to $9.95. I think in the end, it's still going to be, a little bit less of the profit in my pocket, but not enough. I like having my cost at 50%. So I'm curious to see, and I don't think I can do it for the weekend because that's including some Friday items being shipped, but yet the cost. So the cost will be accounted for, but the money made won't. But let me say this. If I run Saturday and Sunday and I'm below 50% cost, even with Friday's shipping, with Friday's cost, without the revenue, then I know I'm still okay and in the clear and under 50%. I think I can push it up to about 52%. Let's just say that. If it's 52% or under, counting Friday's costs, I should be all right. So I'll check that. But a clearer picture will come at the end of the week. So we do the 11th and 12th. Oh, I think I'm in the wrong spot. All right, 11th and 12th. Hopefully I explained that to you good enough. All right. So for combination of Saturday and Sunday running at 21%, but upping my low dollar items. I want to say under 50. Total sales $1,340, up 62%. Selling cost $691, 51.6%. So in theory wise, in my head, I'm under that 52%. So that tells me I should be at the end of the week still at or under 50%. We will see. A whole week's of numbers will give me a true indication. And if I'm pushing $700 plus every day, I'm still going to be pocketing the same amount of money as I was at $500, or at least percentage-wise. Percentage will be the same. The value will go up, but so the net sales $563, up 23%. So my net will be up, and my selling cost will still be about the same. So this is kind of an indication of what I mean by always know your numbers and always experiment and try different things. Let me do the week prior, and we can look at the selling costs for the week. And I'll do this again. I got to remember to do it at the end of the week. So we'll do the 4th through the 10th. And my selling costs were at 47.9%. So it's 48%. So I'm thinking, say I'm up 2% in selling costs, but my sales go up, or was it 60%? My net went up. Like I said, we'll get a clearer picture comparing last week to this week to know for sure. But would you put more money in your pocket for an extra 3% or an extra 2%, whatever? Know your numbers and think of different scenarios to play with. And like I said in the other video, I was just trying to think outside the box. And that comment about, and I don't even know if it is true because I haven't backed it up. I saw 2 people talk about it and say it, about the CEO saying they're not pushing low dollar items, whatever. So, and we always got that feel anyway with the pushing the watches and whatever. So being able to clear my mind and not think about business allowed me to think differently, turning my emotions off. While I was on vacation, I turned everything off. So turning my emotions connected to it off, it allowed me to think of something outside the box, working with my situation. Every situation is going to be different. But as I've said a million times, there are a million different ways and scenarios to make money and or sell on eBay or structure your business. You've got to find what works for you. You can't copy and paste what somebody else does to your business. And that's why I'm always giving you different ideas and scenarios and thoughts and processes. And that's why I try to give you more detail than I think a lot of other channels will, who, they're just giving you their view, what's working for them. And that's not necessarily what may work for you, depending on what you can source, where you're at in the country, where you're at in the world, et cetera, et cetera. So a lot of variables have to go into play when making decisions and changes. But pulling your emotions out of it and looking at everything and thinking differently than you did prior because you're not emotionally involved in it can maybe lead you in a put at least for 2 days, put me in a better position, but looking like I'm still near the same amount of costs. And that was, like I said, bumping all my 420s to $9.95 bumping my promoted from, I was at 12, bumped it up to 21. I was at 12 to 15, bumped it up to 21. And then I made another change yesterday, which I'll see if that bumps it up again. I'm hoping. I've always, when I've listed items, my second store category was always the year I listed it. That way I know how long something's been in the store. Anything prior to 2019 may be in the 2020 folder, or it may not even be in a second store category at all. So I'll notice more of that as I am doing my organization project. So like my 2020 folder, I went ahead and put a coupon for 40% off for that folder. There's 3,000 items I still have in my store from 2020. So I gave a coupon to that folder for 40% off yesterday. So I haven't noticed anything selling low yet, so I don't think, but then I also bumped everything up to $9.95 or higher in that folder. So even at 40%, it's still going to be a $6 item. So that's still better than my 420s. So you see what I'm saying? But it's the perceived value. Hey, I get 40% off this item. It's promoted at 21%. So it might get seen by more people. And then I'll show you the views, how the views went up too, and stuff like that. Then my 2021 folder is at 30%. There was, I want to say, 10,000 items still from 2021 in my store. So I put them at 30%, whereas before I was running a 30% sale off of everything anyway. So I stopped running the sales on top of doing this. So $9.95 or higher, stopped running my 30% off sales, and bumped. And that's another thing. Instead of running a sale, I decided to bump. That would increase the value, help with the increase in my value in the promoted item also. So that's going to be a little bit of a buffer in there. So that will kind of dictate here why I may be so close at 48% and I may only be at 50% of selling cost, because I'm not doing the 30% off on my items, on all my items anymore. So that could come into play too. So 2021, I did 30% off. The 2022 items, I did 20% off. Now I set it up this way so that going into 2023 or 2024, I can put my 2023 items at 10%. So that's the way I'm going to work it. So every year prior is going to go up 10%. So at the end of next year, we will shift. So my 2020 items will go up to 50% off. My 2021s will go up to the 40% off. So you see what I'm saying there? So I'll build it every year. So the oldest stuff will hopefully move quicker. Well, not quicker, but the perceived value will hopefully start moving it now. So we'll see. So that's the whole game plan going forward. I gave a little more here to play the game, but took it from over here, and stirred the pot. And boop, this is what came out. So, traffic-wise, how did traffic change for bumping it up to 21%? So as I said before, I used to get 1.8 to 2 million impressions, no matter if I've done it at 12% or did it at 20%, because I even pushed it back a couple of years ago, was playing around near 20. I think I even did 25 at one time. But I always stayed within the same amount of impressions. They never changed. Like I said, but back in April, something changed. And my almost 2 million impressions dropped down to 800 to 1 million impressions, 800,000 to 1 million. And it stayed there no matter if I pushed 10 to 12 to 15, well, yeah, actually 10 to 15 too. And I played with dynamic, just dynamic +1. I did dynamic +2. And it always stayed within the same amount of impressions. So in comparison, Friday I did 840,000 impressions with 1,680 page views. Saturday, 1.4 million impressions with 2,900 page views. Sunday, 1.4 million impressions with 2,900 page views. Thursday, I did 26 items sold, 7 organic, 19 promoted. Now, this is going to be another play to pay attention to, too, is just because I moved everything up to 21% promoted doesn't mean everything's going to sell at promoted. So how many items do you sell organically? That's going to come into play, too, because that's going to help dictate the cost. So Thursday, 26 items, 7 organic, 19 promoted. Friday, 17 items. I mean, how 17 items sold when you got 51,000 items? How pathetic is that, right? Only 5 organic, only 12 promoted after bumping up. Let's see. So Saturday, 30 sold, which is higher. 9 organic, 21 promoted. Now, I had to get the whole selling 100 items a day out of my head. 70 items a day, got to get that out of my head. 50 items a day, get that out of my head. I had to erase it all. Basically starting from scratch, starting from zero. Like, okay, I'm expecting 10 items a day will sell, raising my prices. That's low expectations. You prepare for the worst, hope for the best. So 30 items sold, which was more than the 2 days before. 9 organic, 12 promoted. So the organics went up in that case also. Sunday, 35 items sold. As you know, it takes about 48 hours before things really go all into effect on eBay when you make a change. So Sunday, 35 items sold, 11 organic, 24 promoted. So the percentage from promoted to organic is staying the same, but the numbers went up a little. So today will be probably, I think, going to be the telltale how it's going to be, because about now, time-wise, I think is been about 48 hours since the change. It might be a few hours. Well, when you're watching this, it may be. Let's just say midday Monday. Should be about a full 48 hours. So then we'll see if things level out or if they start to dip again. I'm afraid they're going to start dipping again, because just prior, every time you made a change, it worked for a day. It worked for maybe 2 days, and then it just dropped again. Is that going to be the case here? We will see. This morning, we're at 820 right now. 3 items sold, 0 organic, 3 promoted. So we'll see. The one thing, let's do the traffic for the 11th and 12th. So as you know, all my numbers were always in the red, constantly in the red. I had those few days where my impressions, top 20 search impressions, went up in the green for a while and what have you. Well, for Saturday and Sunday, everything's in the green. Impressions up 65%, page views up 69%, quantity sold up 51%, organic impressions up 11%. So even though I pushed that promoted up, my promoted impressions jumped up also with it. So it's almost like it's on a scale. Promote more, promote more, your organics follow. That's what it kind of feels like. So we'll see if that sticks. Promoted impressions up 79%. Top 20 search impressions. The most important one is the search impression, the top 20, in my opinion, because it's going to be the closest to what the person is actually putting in that search title. And let me tell you, this weekend, the site has been a complete disaster for me. With searching, it does not recognize colors when I put in colors in the search. trying to list this weekend, server failures consistently. And then Sunday, for the first half of the day, everything was super sluggish. I mean, everything was taking about 10 times longer than normal. It was bad. So top 20 search impressions up 174%. The rest of search impressions up 150%. Non-search impressions up 51%. Like I said, we'll see if it sticks. Changes on eBay normally kind of fizzle out after a couple of days. But it feels like, for the most part, at least impression-wise and page view-wise, whether you believe in those or not, I mean, it's hard to say. You just have to follow the numbers, and hope that they're right when you're running a business. When it comes to numbers you have no control over, like, do those really work? That's eBay's responsibility, not mine. I have to take it that they do. But figuring out how they work, or what to do to make them work, what to do to make them work more efficiently, because an impression's impression, where that impression drops is the most important thing. Has it got anything to do with the search engine? Is it a non-search impression period? Those are important. So figuring out what tweaks work, the best part of the whole algorithm, top 20 search impressions, rest of slot impressions, those two are the main ones when it comes to impressions. So if you see those numbers rise, you're doing something right. What is that right you are doing? So it's like turning a dial, turning an equalizer, if you will. If you don't know what an equalizer is, you're a youngin'. Equalizer does the tones of the radio, gets the different sounds, lower bass, higher bass, treble, higher, and the ones in the 80s where you had like 30 of them you could play with and just rearrange. Seeing which one gives you that perfect sound. The perfect sound on the website is obviously, bottom line, your sales, your net sales. And then next would be your impressions, where they lay on the website. Top 20 and rest of impressions. Non-search impressions mean nothing to me. But if those go up also with it, then hey, it can't hurt. Hopefully. As long as it's not taking away from the other two slots, it can't hurt. How about that? So, as of right now, making all those changes, my item sold per day for the last 2 days was where my highs were for the past 2 months, except for maybe a day here or there. But my numbers are up a little. So the money's up a little. My cost is up, probably going to be a smidget up. But like I said, we'll see more of that at the end of the week and do a comparison. So if you keep your costs the same and you can put more money in your pocket at the end of the day, don't worry about how much you're giving eBay at the end of the day. As long as more money's going into your pocket, that's what the game. And you can't say, well, this is another thing I had to put out of my head. If you compare today to 5 years ago, you're going to look at it in a negative way, 100%, because the game has changed. It's not the same game as 2 years ago. Well, let's say over 2 years ago. Say 3 years ago plus. It's not the same game. For the first 18 years I've been doing this, it's a totally different game today. You have to figure out how that game can work in your favor. Pushing against the game, that's something I always looked at my parents as. People who pushed against things, changes, things different. You understand it, but you're like, you know what? Is that why my parents never aspired to be more than a 3-room apartment living couple, eating lowest dollar food available? You know, I mean, not that there's anything wrong with that, but that's not the life for everybody, right? A lot of people complain. Well, my mom always complained, but some people want more, and you have to figure it out. And I don't want to become my parents where I am complaining about changes. I may not like them, but they're not going away. They've happened throughout time. They're not going away. You're going to go away before the change goes away. So how do you want to live the rest of your life from here on out? You either play the game, or you take your ball and go home and figure something else out, you know? And I got tired of just beating my head against the wall. So I had to change the thought process. All right, let's get to shipping because we're already 45 minutes into this, but I've only got... The mornings are always going to probably be like this. Hopefully not. Hopefully that changes. But every night it seems like there's a shutdown from my perspective. So I've got 7 items to ship out here this morning. Adrian even shipped my Poshmark items. So that's awesome. And then another thing I'm making a change with is I'm not paying attention throughout the day what really sells when it comes to money-wise. I kind of look at what sells, go, oh, that's cool, and kind of take the positive from that and really not pay attention to how much money's being made. I'll see that at the end of the day. I'll see that tomorrow, you know, just not paying attention to it. Because then if you don't pay attention to it today, it'll keep you motivated and keep you moving forward. If you pay attention to it and let it drag you down, you're not going to get nothing done in a positive, constructive way. Look at it tomorrow and go, okay, let's worry about today now. And just keep building. Keep trying different things. Keep changing things up. One thing I have noticed is it seems like my international kind of has just vanished also. But I haven't been shipping, so I'm not 100% dialed in to what's selling. But it has felt like that. So, like I said, I haven't paid attention to everything. So, I'll be able to see more of that this week. Like this morning, no international. But, all right, let's do a little shipping then. So, we got Twin Peaks soundtrack on CD. Headed to Iowa City, Iowa. That sold for $6. And that's the thing. If you have offers and you do offers that are $9.95 items, somebody can still... I've noticed that my offers have gone up. Even on the ones on the $9.95 ones that were $4.20, somebody would send me an offer for $3. And I would counter at $3.50 and it may sell. Now, at $9.50, they're sending me an offer for $6. Okay, yes. Because that's still more than what I was going to get out of it. So... Clearing your head is definitely does not hurt. Removing the emotions out of it definitely does not hurt. TJ. So, you know, I'm here to help you guys with ideas, thoughts, and processes, whether you like to hear the truth or not. The truth will set you free. The truth is going to lead you to a greener pasture than trying to accept something that you either don't like or you don't want to believe. You know, and it sucks. Yes, 100% sucks that I can't make the same amount of money today on item X as I could 3 years ago. Yes, it sucks. So how can I compensate from that? How can I build from that? How can I grow from that? What can I do? What can I change to be different? The Mills Brother vinyl that sold for $9.95. This was up for $4.20. $9.95. headed to Spokane, Washington. I think that was the biggest thing, just coming to realization that, you know what, as of right now, I'm not going to sell 70, 100 items a day anymore. It's just not going to happen. Will my numbers increase now that I'm promoting higher? Hopefully. Will they increase after the next election and the next person comes in and helps people out with taxes? Hopefully. So you got to change what you can change and see if it works. And like I said, the biggest thing is just removing your emotions out of it. Because guess what? Your negative emotions could be holding you back from being happy. Because if all of a sudden I start having $1,000 a days again because I'm promoting at 21%, but my cost didn't change. James, how did you do it? Right? Changed my thought process first. Took my emotions out of it. Now I'm looking at it, okay, I had a 600 plus day, a 700 plus day. How do I get back to that 1,000 now? All right, we're back up there. We're there now. Okay, let's go ahead and next goal, 65,000 items in my store. Get that up by the end of 2024. Will I be at a $1,000 day again? If the last 2 days plays out long term. A lot of variables. But thinking ahead, trying to stay ahead, trying to stay positive. We got this new River Explorer kind of faded vintage jacket here. This was in my store a long time ago and fell out over time. It was one of my, as I'm doing my organization, it's one of the items that got relisted. I was like, this is too cool not to relist. Just throw in the giveaway. This sold for $23, headed to Torrance, California. And I do got big ones now. And of course, I get back and the whole basement's a mess from Adrian. So I had so you can see I'm not even all the way cleaned up yet. He's not organized at all. But hey, there's worse traits he could have, so 2, 7. If not being organized is the only failure I have as raising him, then I'm fine with that. Yeah. 15 by 14. So. Nathan. Next thing I'm going to do, probably in December, I'm going to look at my shipping costs. With Ground Advantage, I haven't went back and really looked at everything, especially my mid-dollar stuff, medium to large items. Can I bring any of those shipping costs down? So I need to look at that. We got some Nike Shox, some Air Flight Nike Shox, or Air Elite. Yeah, Air Elite flights. I love picking these up. These sold for $36, and they are headed to Phoenix, Arizona. Yeah, because I already moved my shoes down. Because like that jacket only cost me $10 to go to California. These shoes are only costing $10 to go to Phoenix. And my shoe prices I had at, I think, at $14.99, so I bumped them down to like $12.99, I believe it was. Ha, love that name. Wilbur. Next up, we got some socks. Treat your elf. Some Christmas socks. Jan's been selling Christmas stuff like crazy. Kind of crazy compared to, I don't have that much listed. Going to Pennsylvania, sold for $6. Alrighty, Brian. Next up, we've got a Boston Red Sox youth baseball cap. Headed to Virginia. This sold for $15. Surprising. So, like, when did this sell? Yeah. Not sure when it sold. I guess this had to sell. This had to sell overnight. So I noticed. I'm trying to pay more attention to individual stuff now too. I noticed without a sale on my hats, they kind of slowed down at $15 a pop. So I put a coupon on all my hats for 20% off using the coupon code. But they didn't use it on this one. So I said about coupons, not everybody uses them. So Greg. And lastly, we've got Resurrection Band cassette tape. And that sold for $10. Headed to Keystone Heights, Florida.
Get off me.
Four by 6. Oh, no, 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 no. All right. Dun, 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 dun. I always lose weight on vacations, even though I usually eat a lot and different because I walk so much. But this time, I didn't even really eat a lot at different places. Normally, we try a lot of different places. Where I think like one day we were out thrifting and hitting different thrift stores. We just stopped at the gas station and bought some like chicken nuggets that they had under the heat lamp. Just like chomped on them while we were out and about. And then got dinner later, but tried a new Mexican place I liked in the Smoky Mountains. I check all the stuff in on Facebook, so I remember it over time, but I don't remember the name of that. Then there was something else. It wasn't Bullfish. It was like Blue Hook Moose or something. I don't know, something. Tried their was it a burger or was it a chicken sandwich? Yeah, I think it was a burger with fried pickles. I was like, ooh, that was good. But yeah, had some fun and explored around a little bit. Found a new honey hole. My old honey hole, I forgot to go back on the Friday, but I guess I can tell my honey hole now. So if you're in that area, since they just totally bombed out on me this time. And then I decided to get a new honey hole. So the old honey hole, if you know Smoky Mountains and the plaza with Cooters in it from Dukes of Hazzard, also has Micro Wrestling. You see my Ivar shirt, right? He's from St. Louis. He works there. They actually performed here last night, and I totally forgot. They didn't have any shows while I was there. They were touring. So they toured here last night, and I totally forgot all about it. But anyway, that plaza, there's a little thrift store in the corner. Last year paid out for me huge. Found that Black Label Society t-shirt, old Jimi Hendrix shirt, a few different concert t-shirts. And everything was like $1 a piece last year. So I was like, this year, $3 a shirt, nothing worth anything. Walked out with 0 items. 0. So on the way home, of course, I like taking side roads and back roads in Tennessee, and came across this flea market. Biggity Bam. That's where I got all those 45 records, if you saw that I'm putting up. Also, if you go to the Urban Picker channel, I'll put up today what I listed yesterday. I'm doing like a new style video trying, where I do like kind of like my pooling videos, where I do like snippets of what I'm going to list that day. So I'm trying that. I'm gonna put that up on the as new arrivals on the Urban Picker video. So I found a new place in Tennessee which scored huge. Got that Levi's jacket so I put up yesterday, sold for 5 minutes for $90. Got that there, so it was nice. But thanks while I was gone, my Vendoo affiliate link below shot up like crazy. So thank you guys for still using that stuff when I'm not here. And my Giro Pack affiliate link. I think I'm at like $1,000 for Vendoo now in affiliate money. So thank you guys. That is freaking awesome. I haven't checked my Giro Pack money recently. See where it's at. But thank you guys for even using those when I'm not present on the channel. I appreciate that dedication, if you will. So much love on that stuff for sure. All right, so that's it for this video. I did do a pooling video on these items, so I'll add to that for the end of the day video. So today I got to make a video for the sold business with a couple of your guys' eBay stores. I got to do that video today. And then I'll have a video on the Urban Picker of what I listed yesterday. So, and then I got a few dolly skit ideas. I haven't done no dolly video in forever. So I got to get back into being playful with the puppets. So, all right. Thanks everybody. And I will see you all in the next video. Later.